Actually, we're gonna start it in 3 minutes. I'm sorry. 목이 안 좋으시니까
Okay, good afternoon. So for those of you who are in LA area, it's good afternoon. But for those who are in Indiana, it's good evening. And for those who are in Korea, it's good morning. Welcome to the 2023 K-Entertainment Technology Summit, co-hosted by Indiana University, Bukyung University, and DirectMediaLab. My name is Kim. I am the Korea Foundation Chair in the East Asian Languages and Cultures Department and Director of the Institute for Korean Studies at Indiana University. Everyone knows how popular Korean content, including drama, film, webtoon, and K-pop are in the world. Today, we have scholars whose research focuses on these areas and entertainment technology companies working in these genres to discuss the future of K-content and entertainment technology platforms. Many Indiana students are interested in working for Korean gaming companies and entertainment tech companies. And I hope today's presentations and discussions will be useful for them. Please enjoy the presentations and participate in the discussion later. So we have packed schedule today. And I was hoping that it would be done in 2 hours, but it's going to be about 2.5 hours. For those 4 scholars who will be presenting in the first session, because again we have very little time, we are going to have them only speak 10 minutes each per hour, okay? And for those 4 scholars, and then in the second session, we have 6 companies, and they will have only 15 minutes, and anybody who will go over, I will cut them off. So please be sure to only present for 15 minutes. And in the third session, we will have discussion with those who will join us as panelists and who will present as representatives of the companies and also the scholars who are joining us. So I will finish my welcoming remarks now, and I will turn to Professor Kim Jong-han from Bukyung University.
Hi, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jong-han Kim from Bukyung National University in Korea. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you attending the K-Entertainment Technology Summit 2023. It is truly an honor to be here today as we come together to evaluate the current state of K-entertainment industry and explore the path forward. This summit serves as a platform to explore the latest trend, innovations, and success factors in the global market of entertainment content and platform. We are fortunate to have distinguished expert industry leaders and scholars who will be sharing their invaluable insight through the online talk and panel discussions. I sincerely hope that this summit will ignite inspiration, broader our understanding, and foster fruitful collaboration that will shape the future of K-entertainment and its technological advancement. Let us seize this opportunity to connect, exchange knowledge, and collectively build a brighter future for the industry. Lastly, I would like to express my special thanks to Director Kim and Han for co-hosting this remarkable event. Thank you for all and enjoy this summit. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Actually, last night I couldn't sleep at all. As you know, I was working as a journalist in South Korea for almost 20 years, and after that, from this year, I just started my own news media outlet, DirectMediaLab, news media lab, news media is like in entertainment and so first of all, thank you for attending the summit. I would like to thank you, Indian University and Bugyang National University, for co-hosting event together. I'd like to thank the many sponsors of the event. It's the Wave of America and HN. And actually, it is first event since the company was established. We connect between the US and Korea, covering domestic and international entertainment tech companies, business and people, and publishing and specialized in report. And we recognize the importance of technology platform in enhancing the value of Korean content and culture, especially when it comes to reaching a global audience. This summit aims to introduce and discuss the current and future trends in these areas, particularly highlighting their demand in global market, such as the US. As media consumption methods have a shift from physical to digital, and such as streaming platforms and via technology, are crucial for Korean drama and movie and webtoon and other content to reach and US market. This applies to the webtoon and entertainment technology company specialized in improvising in content quality, such as digital influencers, AI music, and AI videos. I hope this event will provide a various discussion on K-content and technology platforms. Thank you to everyone who attended and watching.
As I said earlier, we do have 4 presenters in the first session. I am going to introduce them all now, and you will see who is speaking as you look at the program. I believe they have it, right? So the first presenter is Dr. Sida Baseji. She is an assistant professor in Korean and East Asian Studies in the Department of Global Studies, Busan National University. A scholar of Korean performance, she approaches issues from gender to cultural policy through examining everything from traditional mask dance to Mexican dramas to the latest K-pop hits. Sage's most recent publications are Building a K-Community, idol stars challenging foreign fans to learn Korean traditions in Acta Koreana. She also has a sole-authored monograph on Korean mass dance dramas and cultural policy in Korea under review. She is a truly well-known K-pop professor, and she tweets at the K-pop prop. If you want to follow her, you can do so at the K-pop prop. Then you will see a lot of her tweets. The second presenter is Darcy Packett, who is probably the most well-known for a subtitle translator for Parasite. He teaches in the International Film Business Academy at the Busan Asian Film School. He is the founder of the website KoreanFilm.org and the author of New Korean Cinema, Breaking the Way, published in 2010. In 2013, he launched the Wildflower Film Awards Korea, which celebrates achievement in Korean independent filmmakers. Over the years, he has done the English subtitle translation for over 100 Korean films, including Parasite in 2019, The Handmaiden in 2016, and On the Beach at Night Alone in 2017. Darcy has been living in Seoul since 1997. Dr. Pyung Kim is Associate Professor in the Department of Languages and Literatures at the Ohio State University. He specializes in Korean society and culture. A sociologist by training, he has been studying and teaching a wide range of topics related to modern Korea, including popular music, cinema, literature, and urban regeneration, gentrification. He is currently working on a monograph titled Gangnam, Global Polarization of South Korea's Dreamland. And the last speaker will be Professor Jae-hyun Park. Dr. Park is the visiting assistant professor in the College of East Asian Studies at Wesleyan University. With a specialization in modern and contemporary Korean media, cinema, and literature, she attained her PhD from the Department of Asian Studies at Cornell University. Her research centers on the portrayal and reception of gender images and minority groups within contemporary Korean media, with a particular emphasis on the reception of new media webtoons and their transmedia content. She has her book, it's now, let me see. Her publication is, yes. Yes, her forthcoming book is titled Webtoons and Masculinity, Melodrama and Sympathetic Imagination in Contemporary Korean Digital Media. Please join me in welcoming all four speakers. Thank you.
Actually, we connected to three places, so a little bit and please. Yeah.
Um, Maybe it's my time to start, but I can't tell if the audience can hear me or not. Could somebody let me know? I can't have the YouTube on at the same time that I'm maybe it's my time to start, but I can't tell if the audience can hear me or not. Could somebody let me know? Okay, so I just heard myself, so I think I'm good to go. Um, First of all, I would like to thank all of the hosts and sponsors for arranging this intriguing event. So we were asked to speak on a series of questions for 10 minutes. The first question I was asked is, how do you explain the success of K-content in the US? Obviously, I'm speaking from the perspective of being a K-pop scholar, and I've talked about this before. There's actually very many different reasons, but the three most important reasons. First, audiences are always looking for something new, and K-pop is still being introduced to new audiences. It definitely benefits from being familiar enough sonically to not challenge listeners too much, but new enough at the same time. And it has these really high Second, just like K-pop adapted to the benefits of YouTube faster than other music industries, we can clearly see that K-pop is well prepared to attract people who are consuming music, not through their ears and high-quality audio systems, but with their eyes. The ocular-centric nature of K-pop is partially built on the fact that artists can't only sing. They also have to dance, appear in television programs, and charm fans online through various platforms. K-pop is also perfect for the TikTok generation.
Recording in progress.
K-pop is also perfect for the TikTok generation, as it can be extracted into what Jin Daliong calls snack content. 15-second dance challenges, for example, from K-pop stars engage fans, and K-pop lends itself perfectly to memification. Korean may not be everyone's language around the world, but through adept use of visual content, K-pop communicates well. Third, importantly, K-pop is intentionally, densely intertextual and extremely immersive, with idols building entire universes and inviting fans to step inside and explore them together. I've published on precisely this before, and if you'd like to email me, I would be happy to send you my article. So the next question is, what are you paying close attention to these days? So I'm going to talk about three significant shifts or trends in K-pop that I believe are very significant. The first and most significant one is that we have an aging of both artists and fans. The audience for K-pop has changed. So traditionally, we think of it as being a music industry aimed at tweens and teens. In the early days, idol pop groups, they rarely lasted 5 or 7 years. But now, even though we still have young groups, of an appropriate age for teens and tweens debuting, we also have many older artists who are not leaving the industry, and instead they continue to perform and release new content, but often on a more self-driven and relaxed schedule than in the past. We have stars with 20 or 30 years of experience who continue to have vibrant careers, performing well into their 30s, 40s, even 50s. And older fans who may have once hid their ongoing fandom are openly and actively supporting their favorites. This changes the economy of K-pop. For example, increased ticket prices are financially less burdensome for older fans who may request a Friday off from work and fly to another city or another country just to see an artist perform. And older fans have deeper pocketbooks, which has a huge impact on the advertising framework because older fans can afford something more than cosmetics, fried chicken, and cell phones. But at the same time, it also creates a challenge for the industry that needs to reintroduce idols to audiences. In the past, idols created a fan base and just maintained those fans throughout their career. But now it's really urgent to find creative ways to introduce older and established artists to diverse audiences around the world. And this is often happening through diverse platforms. Groups like Super Junior have handled this very well by focusing on demonstrating interest in Latin America through collaborations and tours and use of Spanish. A second big trend that I see right now is a shift towards debuting or establishing identities as solo stars. It wasn't that long ago that most K-pop agencies tried to confine a group to only producing music as a group. But today, artists are developing individual artistic expression and exploring new sounds, while their group is still going strong, pointing to what could be a gentle transition into solo artist status in the future. This is partially facilitated by the world of digital music, where it's more possible than ever before to record and release even a single track. Of course, K-pop has always been a cross-platform industry with artists particularly active in both music and on entertainment television programs. Some of you know my interlocutor, Riley Marshall. We go to concerts together and alone, and we share important observations from those performances. After a recent TXT performance, I was struck by her description of the integration of webtoons and K-pop. And for those of you, unlike Dr. Park, who are less deeply involved in K-pop fandom, I decided to introduce this trend. So HYBE is kind of the industry leader in K-pop webtoons, which they have on the platform Line, which allows both English and Korean. Now, HYBE has made webtoons for BTS, TXT, and Hypen, Anteam, and LE SSERAFIM, some of which are still going right now. And reading these webtoons allows fans to have insight, to analyze, to more deeply connect to the music. So the fictional backstory of the group is shown in the webtoon and also appears in their music or on stage in the videos shown as artists are, changing their clothes backstage. Very excellent example of intertextuality. So to kind of sum up, the big changes I see are these extensions of K-pop, extension to older artists and fans, extension to artists who are both solo and in groups, and extension of the IP of K-pop into these new areas of cultural production. The next question is, what is the significance for K-pop of global platforms like Netflix involvement in K-content? So in February 2020, right before the pandemic, I went to a K-pop concert in Indianapolis. And as an ethnographer, I was asking people around me, like, how did you get interested in K-pop? Like, how do you know about this artist? And this older woman told me, oh, I watched this reality program featuring singer, so I started listening to his music. And so we really see how platforms like Netflix have started with dramas, but since the dramas are so popular, they're now also carrying Korean cooking shows or travel shows or comedy variety programs. And since K-pop idol stars frequently star in those programs, then we have this, way to introduce idols and their music to potential music fans through the television screen. Of course, there's also tour documentaries and short variety programs. A lot of those are appearing on Disney Plus these days. And then there's all of the television competition shows where young people vie to become members of an upcoming group or be acknowledged as the best dancer. So the last question is, what do you think is necessary for K content to succeed in the future? And the first thing is the Korean government needs to take a step back and realize that their role in K content is as a supporter and a cheerleader, but absolutely never as a producer. Something cringy like this video actually sends a very dangerous message for K-pop. It actually creates an second, we really have to be careful to preserve cultural uniqueness and, for lack of a better word, K-flavor. I'm a bit concerned about what I see right now as rampant pandering to the English-speaking market, with too many songs being in English. And if that goes too far, then we can actually see an eventual watering down of K-pop's charm. It will no longer be different. And third, part of the problem here might be figuring out how to translate K content for foreign audiences without turning Korean things into Western things. This is an issue of linguistic and cultural translation, and I expect that Mr. Darcy Paquette will discuss that in a moment. Thank you. Stop share.
Okay, thank you very much, Cedarbow. Thank you for inviting me to this conference. Apologies for the strange lighting. I'm at a film festival in Daegu at the moment, and so I'm not in my usual setup. But I'm happy to talk to you about these issues. And yeah, I have a lot to say. I mean, both as a translator and as an observer of the Korean film industry. And I think that we're at a really interesting moment right now for the film industry. So maybe the first thing I should say is that I'm going to be speaking today particularly about film as opposed to kind of OTT content or series. I'll be speaking more about the traditional film industry. And of course, there is a great deal of overlap between the two industries, and you have people going back and forth, both actors and directors and crew members working in both industries. But because the industries are quite separate in terms of their working method, and the situation that they find themselves in is dramatically different, then I'd like to focus primarily on the film industry, and to talk about the influence of companies like Netflix. So to begin with the first question, how to explain the success of K-content in the US? A couple of things. I think that in one sense, Korean content meets the basic requirements for success overseas. I think that there's a certain level of production quality that we see in Korean films that does set them apart from work from many other countries. I think that there's certainly a benefit to having the strong developed economy that South Korea has. Korea has very large corporations that push Korean content, and it would be naive to say that there's no benefit in that. I mean, just as an example, one of my students from the Busan Asian Film School, who's a producer from the Philippines, his new animated feature has been nominated within the Oscar category for Best Foreign Language Film. And he was getting advice about how to promote his film and to run an Oscar marketing campaign in the US. And he was told that basically you need at least $500,000 or else it's almost not even worth it to start the campaign. So yes, I mean, K-content, it has the advantage of coming from a well-developed economy. In terms of the content itself, I think that Korean films have struck on a very successful formula of being familiar and new at the same time. And so Korean filmmakers have been very influenced by Hollywood, everyone from Bong Joon-ho down to genre filmmakers. And I mean, you can see that the way that Korean content is produced and presented is to a certain extent familiar to international audiences. And yet, I would say that the way that the narratives are structured and presented is somewhat different, in the sense that Korean stories seem to be structured around these emotional high points. I mean, this is a generalization, but Hollywood screenwriters are obsessed with plot and to immediately push the film along and to create the momentum through plot. Korean content makers tend to focus more on these moments of emotional intensity. And you know, in a Hollywood blockbuster, for example, you have moments where the spectacle sort of takes over the story. In Korean content, it's more likely to be a moment of kind of intense emotional experience for the audience. But if you look at how Korean filmmakers tell their stories do seem to be structured around these emotional high points, which makes the films feel somewhat different. So yes, this formula familiar but new. Moving on to the second question, any specific genre or work that I'm paying close attention to these days? I mean, I should start by saying that, you know, I just spoke about the success of Korean content in the US, but these days the situation from within Korea feels very different. And actually, the industry is very much gripped in a kind of crisis these days. Coming out of the pandemic, filmmakers have been waiting for audiences to return to the theaters, but it's becoming clear that kind of the old days, the pre-pandemic days, are not coming back for the film industry. You know, with very, very few exceptions, films, even successful films, are earning about half of what they previously did. Overall box office is down. And in particular, it seems that audiences' interest in new Korean films is also at a much lower level than it used to be. There are certain genres that are doing well at the box office, Japanese animation in particular. Certain Hollywood films are doing well, but Korean content is really struggling to connect with audiences. And you know, the film industry has pursued a strategy of kind of bigger and bigger, and to push bigger budgets, you know, bigger scale films, to, you know, create content as ambitious as possible. And for the past 25 years, this is, you know, apart from a few down points in the middle, this has led the industry to success. And yet, it's reaching a point where the kind of films that are being made by the film industry cannot be supported in this new economic environment. If audiences don't return, and it's becoming clear that we're kind of entering a new era in terms of the relationship between the audience and filmmakers, then the industry will have to respond in some way. And I think it's going to be a big challenge for the film industry. So for me, when you know, the specific work or genre that I'm paying close attention to, I mean, one thing I will say, that one of the few bright spots, or one of the few filmmakers who have been successful in this contemporary climate, have been this production company, R&K Filmmakers, which is run by the director Yoo Seung-won, and then his wife Kang Hae-jung is also a producer. They work together, both on Yoo Seung-won's own productions, and then also they produce works by other directors. And they've continued to have a strong track record of success. Their release this summer, Smugglers, was the biggest grossing Korean film of the summer season. They've recently released a genre film, Dr. Chun, which did not get great reviews, but it managed to earn back its budget, thanks in part to being a somewhat slimmer budget than other similar types of work. Mogadishu last year was the most successful Korean release of the year. And I think their model of having a director who is ambitious creatively, coupled with a producer who kind of understands quite well about the balance between creativity and commercial appeal, is something that used to be at the center of the film industry in the early 2000s. And it's been slowly, not completely replaced, but the studio model of making films has become more and more central to the making of content in the film industry. It seems to me that a return to the previous ways of making films that would be more focused on, strong producers, individual production companies working together with distributors, rather than developing stories within these big studios, would be a more successful model. But we'll have to see if, where the industry heads in the future, because the trend has been more towards a studio model, very streamlined commercial process of investing and then developing films. Third question, I'll try to move quickly through the last three. Netflix and K-content. This has been the other source of anxiety for Korean filmmakers, because Netflix has been investing so much money in the film industry that it's kind of overwhelmed the film industry in many senses. In one sense, Netflix has kind of stolen the buzz from the Korean film industry. Audiences are more focused on what's coming out on Netflix. They've been particularly successful with series, Squid Game and all the other series that have come out in recent years. But in general, I would say that, the film industry used to excite the local audience, and the local audience seems to be more focused on OTT content these days. Primarily Netflix, but the other OTT providers as well. But also, just in a general sense, the massive investment in Korean content has created strong competition for talent. Actors, it's much more difficult to cast actors in films these days because of their schedule in shooting OTT series. The same, directors that used to focus primarily, exclusively on filmmaking are now doing a lot of work in the OTT sector. And, if you need a cinematographer or a lighting director, filmmakers need to fight to get them, to make them available, because, so much effort and focus is being put on the production of OTT content. Can Korean content companies compete with global platforms like Netflix, Hulu, etc.? Netflix is such a big player within the Korean market. And my feeling is that in order to truly compete on that level, these companies would need to have a strong base within Korea and to be very successful in the home market, and then to carry that internationally. And local companies were much more successful in their home market a few years ago. And even a company like CJ, which is extremely ambitious and which has, the ability to purchase companies overseas and then to more directly get into overseas filmmaking. The mood at CJ is not good these days. I think that, they continue to push forward ambitious projects, but to truly compete on a global level with Hollywood studios and OTT platforms, I think the feeling these days is that it will be difficult. And what's necessary for K-content to succeed in the future? In terms of, again, the traditional film industry, they'll have to adjust to the new economic reality in some way, perhaps downsizing, perhaps focusing on films with a lower budget, and to push them more on the basis of their casting or their concept, rather than in terms of their blockbuster scale. So there is a new industry model needed, but I think that moving from the current model to the new model will be a messy and difficult process. And so the next few years will be crucial, I think, for the future of the Korean film industry. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the talks today.
So I guess it's my turn. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Professor Seung-kyung Kim for inviting me to this wonderful and distinguished panel, and DirectMediaLab, who is organizing this event. I gotta start with a kind of a disclaimer that I didn't really prepare myself well for this presentation. I wouldn't even call it a presentation, but the answers to the questions, and these are really good questions, but very difficult questions to answer, I must admit. But let me take one by one to the best of my ability. But I may go a tad too long, or I may end prematurely, depending on how it goes, because I didn't really, I didn't really write down my, remarks here. So please bear with me. And if I go too long, I guess moderator can cut me off, and I wouldn't be offended. That said, the first question, well, it seems to me the first question is, if I'm not mistaken, is there any specific genre of work that I'm paying close attention to? Well, that has to be K-pop, because I consider myself a scholar of popular music, right? And I think Dr. Seiji is probably the better expert than me in terms of what's going on in the contemporary K-pop scene. But I'm approaching this from a perspective of a pop music historian. So that's how I just look at the current K-pop phenomenon. And I think what's most interesting to me is this kind of a new frontier in terms of K-pop, which is more and more immersing itself into new technology. And that's what I really want to focus on when I talk about when I address these issues. So one other thing I'm kind of interested in is, actually, some K-pop artists, especially the better known ones like BTS, are trying to reach back to this kind of a traditional Korean culture and reclaim this kind of cultural heritage, which has, I think, a kind of a political dimension to it. But also, I think it's really nothing new, except that BTS is now globally renowned a pop act. So what they do have this kind of a global impact. But again, this is the area where Dr. Seiji is really expert in. I think, if I remember correctly, there are at least 2 articles published by her on this very subject. So I'm not gonna, I'm not really gonna touch that today. But yeah, I think the immersion of technologies, and that's why I think I'm going to show this slide, which I didn't really make, and I'm not going to do a slideshow here, but just to give you kind of a sense of what I want to talk about. So I'll use this as a sort of a cover image, and I don't want to see my picture just dominating here. So here we go. Hopefully you can all see. So the virtual idol, and that seems to be the kind of what K-pop is kind of headed in many. I think they're always exploring in many different directions, and I think that's one of the defining features of K-pop, and more broadly K culture or K content, as you put it here. So expandability, in other words. So I'm working with my former advisee, and also my current student on this, K-pop technology and virtual idol thing. And this is a cover slide made by my student John Helsher. So I'm going to give him the credit to come up with this, kind of image here. And the second thing I would like to, point out in terms of, K-pop, but then again, it can be expanded to, K-culture in general, is its transnational mobility. And it's not just a, hybridity that K-pop is known for, basically, hybrid of, Korean traditional music and some kind of Japanese influence, and of course, dominant, American pop music influence, especially the African American musical tradition and so on and so forth. But it always moves back and forth, and going, not just contained within the country, but now it's expanding, and that's what really makes K-pop quite different from the previous Korean pop music strands, and even compared with J-pop. So those two things are what I consider really interesting when it comes to K-pop, and that's why I focus on this specific genre. So now let me move on to the second question. How do you explain the success of K-content in the US? What are the factors that underlie its success? Well, I mean, this thing, scholars, I think, have been debating for many years over what makes K-pop tick, right? I would rather approach this in a question from a different angle, and I would like to point out that K-pop tried actually many years, especially in the U.S. market, tried to garner success, and it failed. It failed many times over until it kind of broke through in 2012 with Psy's Gangnam Style, of course, and then really floodgate was open with BTS coming on the scene in 2013, and BTS is one of the first acts, if I remember correctly, that was kind of noticed in the U.S. Among the U.S. fans first, and then the popularity in Korea followed after that. That's what I kind of noticed, because when I was teaching at this was a small college in Oregon in 2013. And I played, Sateji boys, music. I think it was 교실이래야, classroom ideology, which was harshly critical of, Korean high school education system. And some students came up to me afterwards, and they said there's something quite similar in, current K-pop, that what I showed, with, Sateji, and that was BTS. And at the time, I never even heard about, BTS. Well, of course, they were called 방탄소년단 back then, right? So that sort of thing. Really, I mean, I started talking about, K-pop in U.S. University circles from 2006. And at the time, it didn't really get any respect. Many, artists tried, like, Rain or Boa, and the Wonder Girls, and so on and so forth. And, Jin Young Park, of course, basically, came to the U.S. East Coast and met with a lot of, rap moguls, try to, advertise, the music he produced. And it's got some airplays, and they had some, tours and everything. But in the end, it all fell apart. And I could sense from the ground, from college campuses, whenever I talked about, this kind of music, they didn't really appreciate it that much. So, the change wasn't really, coming overnight. Rather, many kind of, trial and error really, made that kind of difference, I think. So the success has a lot to do with, this kind of trial and error process, going beyond just, recent, success period, but going back to 20 or even 30 years, or I might say that almost, century of, current popular music, trying to incorporate this American and, Western musical influence and make it into their own. And now I think they are reaping their, benefit, the fruit of it, right? So moving on to the third question, what is the significance of Netflix's involvement in K content? Well, but first, I don't have Netflix, subscription. I never had, and I guess my previous speaker, of course, spoke eloquently about the Netflix's impact. So let me just give you a very quick observation. I do have HBO Max subscription that comes with the high-speed internet subscription, and I flipped through what HBO streaming service had to offer, and very interestingly, I found some of the kind of indie contents coming from of course Korea, animation and short films, and also short films by Korean Americans, but that was about kind of a Korean culture, which was really kind of an interesting development. And it seems that of course Netflix introduced Korean content to the mainstream American viewers as well as worldwide viewership. But I think the kind of unintended consequences of it is they are looking out for some newer and different, maybe HBO is looking for a kind of edgier content, and that opens the that gives some opportunity to these kind of indie content makers, filmmakers, and so on. Let me move on to the fourth question. Can Korean companies compete successfully with other global platforms such as Netflix, Hulu, etc.? Well, streaming services, I don't know. I guess not. But some Korean companies, especially I think the tech companies, which have increasing synergy with K-pop, especially when it comes to virtual idols. I'm talking of course, digital gaming companies, which have a big share in the digital gaming market worldwide. And as many of you know, that 70% of Korean cultural content revenues actually is coming from digital gaming. So it overshadows everything else: K-pop, film, drama, etc., etc. So they may be able to compete, and that leads me to the final question. What do I think is necessary for K content to succeed in the future? Again, I think the expandability, and I think what I see is this kind of incorporation of technology to create these kinds of virtual idols. I mean, the history goes all the way back to 1998 that Korean music companies try to create this kind of virtual idols. You may have heard the name of Adam or Nazca. These are kind of virtual singer and girl groups and so on. And they tried many years up until recently. But it really became a thing when the game companies got involved. So the first, I think, noticeable, virtual idol came, in the form of KDA, and that was coming from this, League of Legends, game community, and then followed by Mave, which is a virtual idol group, and behind that is the Korea's #2 digital gaming company, Netmarble, and then there's Superkind. And all these kinds of new names, Eternity that you see here, aespa, all these, virtual, K-pop bands that have some, kind of newer technology, whether it's AI, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and so on and so forth. So I think this can be really the wave of the future, and how K-pop expands beyond, what is known as the Korean content, but really, something, beyond this kind of ethnic boundary. So I'll stop here and pass the microphone to our next presenter.
Start by thanking Professor Dr. Seung-kyun Kim. Thank you so much for inviting me to this really exciting event. And also I thank DirectMediaLab and Bukyong National University. So I will share my screen. Okay. About the first question, so what I am paying close attention to is, yes, I can say webtoons, as Dr. Says briefly mentioned. So webtoons have been popular in South Korea since the early 2000s, and then have spread to other the regions, including North America. So webtoon is term combining web, digital, and toon, cartoon. However, it is used as the name of the world's largest digital comics platform. Well, I will show you but it seems it is not really working. Oh. Okay, now it is working, great. So I will show you a very brief, short video clip. Some of you might be very familiar with webtoons. However, from my experience, for those who might not be familiar with webtoons, so I will show this really short video clip, then probably you will get the idea about how you read and maybe consume webtoons. I tried to make it really short. That's why I really did very quickly. So probably you cannot read the content. So while you are watching how it works, and then probably you can also listen to me. So as you see on the screen, so webtoons mainly consist of close-ups in a long vertical layout. So you see images, and also you can read the text by clicking and also scrolling down your cell phone or computer screen. So the verticality is a distinctive feature, and the reader or audience sometimes can also listen to some background music while they are watching or reading webtoons. But I chose the omniscient reader. That episode does not have any sound. Okay, the vertical layout is really innovative. So utilizing gutter spaces to build the tension, provide the temporal and also spatial transitions. So webtoons are easily accessible anytime and anywhere by online platforms. So while their convenience and accessibility contribute to webtoons' popularity, I'd like to highlight that active reader or maybe audience participation, particularly through the comment section, now you see that at the end of each episode, plays a crucial role in this phenomenon. Well, readers' reactions and feedback are integral to the success of webtoons, and they have led to webtoons branching out into various media productions, including television dramas and the movies and online games and even streaming services such as Netflix. Probably here you can see, you can see that how many people really watched and click like, and then how really people react, and even how really people really like, and maybe some the viewers or maybe some the audiences, they suggest the remake into the mediums and the different media and the productions. So in the comment sections, you can observe how audience react to and interact with specific webtoons. So there is a concept I refer to as 댓글 in Korean word to emphasize their unique roles in following and writing about the webtoon. It means, yes, click follower and write about the webtoon. So initially they share their reactions. Sometimes they really share maybe critical reviews or analysis. As Dr. Sage briefly mentioned about how maybe the idol industries, they also utilize webtoons to maybe promote or maybe to strengthen the relationships between fans and then the idols. So in this way, probably I can say the webtoon comment section, to enhance this relationship and at the same time extend the story world of the webtoons. So the 댓글 space fosters intimate connections that turn media users into active participants. Of course, not all of the webtoon, the readers, right? But usually they click and then maybe it's just to click like, or maybe some active, the participant, they also write the comments. So in this way, in the process of media reception, they emerge as active participants. And so they express their emotional maybe responses, and even sometimes they shed tears virtually. So in this regard, my current research is about how webtoon 댓글, the comment section, visualize particularly men's tears in media reception. So men's emotional reactions, including tears, have been relatively neglected in the media, the reception practices. So my research focuses on the question of how 댓글 as a virtual and intimate space enable emotional interactions among male audiences. So by suggesting the melodrama as a mode of reception, I also look at the new form of masculinity, and the probably masculinity can be discussed in terms of webtoon reception. So I will move to the next question. It is about, okay, so how you explain the success of K content in the US. So regarding the second question, well, even I briefly just mentioned previously, but I would focus on the two factors regarding the popularity of webtoons in the US. The technological, the convergence and the platformization of everyday life activities play important roles in this phenomenon. So the convergence of web technologies and comics as media content drives the popularity of webtoons. And also when I went to New York City last year, I really personally witnessed just really active the webtoon advertisement by using the New York City subway platforms. So you see that how webtoons have been really promoted in big cities in the US. And also since 2021, the DC Comics has partnered with Webtoon. This is really the platform, the name of the platform, to reach global audiences by, for example, the serializing Batman, Wayne family adventures in Webtoon format. So I will move to the next questions. Netflix environment. So the previous speakers, they really elaborated on this issue. However, I will just maybe briefly talk about Webtoons. The successful Netflix series, such as Itaewon Class, Sweet Home, and Hellbound, they are all originated from webtoons. So even the recent Disney Plus series, Moving, is also based on Kangpur, the webtoonist, Kangpur's 2015 webtoon. So these streaming service platforms further amplify the trend of webtoon-based content production because of, as I mentioned then, the proven popularity of webtoons among audiences in the comment section, taker section. So in this way, maybe the media producers, they can guarantee whether the remake of webtoons can really succeed or not. And the interesting one is after watching these series, and some people, they really want to read the webtoon, the original version of these series. That's why webtoons, ironically, also gained a lot of popularity, even though they finished the serializing long time ago. And the next question, it is about can Korean companies compete with other global platforms such as Netflix, Hulu? Well, I used this slide again, but I will explain soon. So probably I can say Korean neighbor Webtoon is the platform name, currently holds the most dominant market share, more than half. In South Korea, more than 80%. In Japan, more than 70%. In also the US, yes, more than 60%. In the France, which has a lot, maybe compared to the US, diverse the Webtoon platforms, but more than 50%. So in this way, probably I can say that Webtoon itself is also a brand name and also the web, the platform. So it's really competitive. However, as I showed that maybe like the Webtoon and the DC Comics, the partnership, the potential for partnerships with global tech companies like an Amazon and Apple, as well as streaming services, may probably offer the further success. I just found the very exciting the articles that and Apple and Amazon, they are also interested in the expanding their streaming services and then having webtoons. So currently, and another one is maybe the common belief is that webtoons mainly target, and the webtoons are more for the younger generation. But probably you can see that the broadening of their audience across various age groups and cultures. So it means maybe the future of the webtoons is more promising as their growth has continued. And I will move to the last question. So yes, obviously I can say that we now live in a platform-driven world where new content is in demand. So webtoons with their diverse genres and stories are well maybe positioned to thrive by fostering a supportive media environment and maybe policies regarding the digital labor and also maybe vibrant academic agenda, I guess. Yes, the webtoon, maybe new webtoon authors, they can enter more and also they can survive. And even also they can create new content activity. And also probably the webtoon industry and the culture have more diverse and global webtoon audiences. All right, so I will stop here and thank you so much for listening to my well-informed presentation.
So all the presenters, Silva, Darcy, Kilo, and Janet, thank you so much for your very concise and also informative presentations. So we are going to go on to the second session now, and there will be 6 company representatives. So first one will be, is there one? Okay, so. Okay, so he will take over now.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for all the presenter. Yeah, it's the second session is the your human session. So yeah, second session features the industry expert working for platform and company and startup involved in promoting and Korean content abroad. Yeah, topics include the trend in consuming K content and strategy. And for global market expansion, the role of Asian communities, and the importance of Korean language education. Yeah. So it's the second session is the consists of hybrid session. It's four of them is the in person and 2 is still via Zoom. Yeah. Let's restart this from Google. Yeah. Sorry for delay.
Hello, everyone. So, hi everyone, my name is Shiwan-Ling. I'm part of the Media and Entertainment Partnerships team at Google, based here in Los Angeles. I'm delighted to be here to representing how Google potentially can help the content partnerships continue to grow their business on our ecosystem. And with that, so APAC has been one of the largest contributors to the growth of the global online video industry, and one of the fastest growing region for Google as well. K-content actually played a very important role to that growth, and not only in APAC, but also in the US. With K-content raising viewership 200% between the 2019 and 2021, Korean content, particularly K-drama, are clearly become the mainstream content in the US. In 2021, everyone know about Squid Games, one of the most in-demand series debuted in 2021 globally, and also in the US market, that this particular Netflix original also reached the #1 in national streaming chart for many weeks. The other example is the film Parasite, which reached over $50 million in box office in the US. It's no wonder why major streaming services are tapping into their investment in Korean production content. So streaming is the major mainstream now. The direct-to-consumer business continued to grow from strength to strength in the US. Nielsen reported that up to 83% of the viewers have at least one streaming subscription, while global online video streaming subscription surpassed 1.3 billion last year. Last year, there's 19 million year worth of content being consumed online in the US. So there are more content for the viewers to watch. The video streaming market reached $33 billion revenue last year, and global video streaming market is expected to reach $72 billion in revenue in the next 5 years. At the same time, since streaming now is mature, we also see some significant changes related to the consumer behavior sentiment as well. First, the consumer expectation on search and discovery has heightened. 60% of the global consumer find that process of navigation between streaming services frustrating. Too many content to watch. The second shift we also see is the demanding on flexibility of on the pricing point, and also ad-supported services return. In the next 2 years, over half of the internet user will have used an AVOD service, which is growing twice as fast as SVOD. We're also seeing viewership on the free ad-supported service like Pluto, Tubi, and Samsung TV Plus growing globally. And the last point I also want to make is the increase of importance of the content relevancy and the need to invest in both scalable and international content from the streaming services. While many things are changing in this industry, one important thing that hasn't changed is that TV is still the favorite place to watch long-form content. It's the biggest screen in the home, and it becomes even more important as the center of living room during the pandemic. Smart TV is seeing the fastest growth globally in streaming video time. which is 2 times faster than mobile. According to Nielsen, streaming has become the dominant TV option since November of 2022 in the US and grabbed a record high of 37.7% of total TV usage in June of 2023. Sorry about that format, it's a little bit awkward here. So, like I mentioned, that now we are not lacking any content to consume anywhere, mainly because even in the US, the US audience have more than 1 million unique video title, that's unique video program to consume anytime. And in short 2 years, the amount of content available to TV viewer has grown by more than 800,000 individual programs. 87% of those individual programs actually resides on the streaming services. International production remained a key pillar for many of the major streaming players, especially during this time when there's ongoing Hollywood strikes. Overall, global demand for non-English content has increased by more than 16% since 2018. American audiences are growing more interested in foreign content over the last few years. The trend has been fueled in large part by the streaming platform that offer a wide selection of foreign language content, catering to diverse audience of viewers with different cultural background and interest. Streaming platforms have been investing heavily in global content production and licensing, which creates highly praised hit shows such as Money Heist, Squid Game, and Dark are few examples. Although Netflix and Amazon are taking the lead when it comes to non-English content, other platforms are trying to catch up as well. According to the Wall Street Journal, Disney announced that it will be spending up to $9 billion per year in worldwide content for Disney Plus by 2023. In the US, each streaming services is taking different approach to its international programming. One example is Max or HBO Max, previously known. A significant share of their on-demand content actually is from the other English market. Hulu, on the other side, actually are building out their animation offering. 74% of their demand content is international series from Asia. Majority was driven by Japanese anime. Japanese animation routinely ranked the most in-demand subgenre globally, and is not easy to replicate just due to by the other production company with a huge history that they have established. Over the last few years, the makeup demand for foreign content in the US has been changing. There is a huge demand for Asian content and a less demand for European language like Spanish, German, and French. A driving factor beyond the growth beyond demand for the non-English content is mainly Japanese programming, which surpassed Spanish in the last quarter of 2021, become the most in-demand foreign language in the US. On the other side, the demand for Korean shows is largely driven by the popularity of K-pop, which has exploded recent years, especially among young audience. This has helped to drive interest in other forms of Korean media, largely benefiting Korean dramas. The demand for Korean drama content has more than increased double from third and fourth quarter of 2021 after the release of Squid Game. If we look at the generation breakdown of streaming originals audience by foreign language, The audience for Japanese and Korean language heavily skewed towards younger generation. More than 70% of the audience for Japanese shows and 60% of the audience for Korean titles is made up of people younger than 30 years old. At Google, we recognize the value of multicultural content and services for user experience across different screens. Here are some examples that we feature the multicultural services, the multicultural content across Android platform and Play and Google TV. Google is helping to reach billions of global viewers across our Android ecosystem who is looking for consume content on various devices. Whether it's mobile or tablet, foldable or cars, Google is investing in providing consumers with the opportunity to access and consume content on the device of their choice. Search and Assistant continue to elevate and help users to find and consume the content they are looking for, whether it's on your own and operated services or through a third-party services. Google Play allow you to reach users looking to find and consume entertainment on over 3 billion Android devices across 190 countries. And YouTube has multiple solutions across the consumer journey to enable you to distribute your content, whether it's trailer, clips, film, TV shows, or even your own streaming services to 2 billion monthly users. When you think about how to engage the consumer and ultimately get them to react, we need to be in the right moment, at the right time, with the right message. Google Search provides a number of tools to help the organic discovery in the moment that matters. From watch action notification or with Google TV and Assistant can help users to discover content and put your service top of the user's mind. YouTube also allows you to build community around your content with both pay and organic strategy working together to engage the user around tempo event or content promotions. We have a very rapid growing ecosystem that gained huge traction globally, platform that consumers love with strong innovation pipeline and opportunity beyond integration that will help partners acquire and retain their audiences. The media entertainment team at Google is here to provide a strong service capability and welcome partners to join the largest content distribution platform. With that, I thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for presenting Xiaomi. Next, our presenter is from Cocoa, Web Americas. He can present about this Korean content streaming platform. As you know, Cocoa is one of the best Korean content platform in the United States. So,
Hello everybody, I'm Philippa from Cocoa. CEO of Cocoa. Thank you, Jen. You showed me great data. I applied of Google so much. They watch us always. They know everything. I'm really, lucky that we are partner with Google. Okay, today I'm gonna talk about the platform technology and market trend. So this is our company name. Not famous yet, but so many people are aware of this brand. Catchphrase, the ultimate destination for Korean entertainment. That means we are final destination. Even though you start any Korean content experience from major operator like Netflix, Disney, Hulu, whatever, we will be final destination. Because we hold most largest content library in the US. That's why. Okay, let me show you one video clip.
You know, Blackpink isn't a color. Kimchi has kick, and barbecue can be indoors. A kiss can be complicated, unexpected, desired, and stop time. You understand that rain is sad, but sometimes happy. You've learned not everything can be solved with a sword, and reality can be familiar and yet so different. And now you know where you can find all this and more. Cocoa, the ultimate destination for Korean entertainment.
Subscription PHG, right? 7.99 already.
You know what?
So let me update about the market status in US first. So as far as I understand, there are so many audience, Korean audience remotely, so they don't know about the market at all. So I will introduce market status from the my Cocoa perspective, Korean streaming platform perspective. So if we look at the OTT platform industry, so all the OTT platform, they really compete to acquire exclusive license last 5 years. So Netflix, they invested a lot of money in Korean studio ecosystem before. Also Disney, they try to acquire exclusive content, original content. This has happened in the market. So after such competition to acquire the original content, we are in the stage of add-on and bundle service package. The period. I mean, so many individual channel, they offer their package with bundles with the other competitor or some partners, right? Recently you can see the some bundle package with the YouTube bundle package with the NFL. So they offer such a bundle to matter. They try to upsell their package with some collaboration. So last one is brand everywhere. That means the lastly, there are only brand. So the beyond brand, there must be some technology as well. But the people in the people mind, they just remember brand name. That's why I always emphasize brand. So platform is brand. Okay, market looks so complicated. So there are a lot of players, but we just remember very few OTT brand name. So if we say about the video streaming service in the US, people just remind Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, HBO, Paramount, etc., etc. So I hope to be in the middle of the such famous brand name. Finally, we are recognized. Cocoa is there. I'm really happy. I really appreciate Google too. Okay, here's the OTT era. So this is the kind of phase. I think content provider platform is channel now. So when we were in the era of the linear, so we say that real-time linear channel is a channel. We think that that's a channel. Okay. But now OTT is very common, methodology to bring the user experience. That means, the such, content provider independent platform became a, channel. HBO, they used to be a linear channel, but mostly people spend their the HBO content through the on-demand service. Netflix, they never do linear service before, but so they are now a channel from my perspective. So that means, once we build up the channel premium, it brings, some exclusive channel, demand from the market. Then they try to maximize their revenue because my channel became a premium. That's why people think about the exclusive strategy. And now, so they have no exclusive channel, of course. So you can see the good example. And NFL. So it used to be exclusive before, but now we can see the NFL program everywhere. So CBS and NFL Plus, this is their own independent OTT platform. So CP platform, content provider platform. That means it's channel now. So Paramount Plus, YouTube Premium, YouTube TV, blah, blah, blah. So they don't give their content under exclusive license. That means they maximize their revenue from the market. So strategy is changing too. So from the US perspective, US major operator needed for the globalization recently. So Netflix is number one because they already did a lot of the localization for global business before. But as far as the UN update, there are so many, not ethnic, group here. So so many community who don't speak English as a native language. So US has a diversity. So here are so many non-English speakers. So once Netflix acquired their original title, they translate all the English title to the foreign language, and then they had a test in the market. So they already had some such robust testing in the US market, and they were easily went out to the foreign countries. It was quite a correct approach. So they did the localization, but it was one of the preparedness to be a globalized. So it was US is the best country to have a globalization and the localization together, from my perspective. So the Azure ethnic program, Cocoa, is Korean streaming OTT platform. So all the contents are Korean. So I have to localize all the program for the US audience or Latin American audience. So there are so many considerations. So legal matter, cultural matter, religion, license, PPL, language, ethnic, etc., etc. So it's the cost impact. So not easy to reduce such kind of localization cost because it affects the quality. So if I reduce some cost for the localization, so deliverable would be bad, what I said before. So once I deliver bad experience for the subtitle of dub, so people will not understand the message of the title properly. It's bad experience. So I said Netflix strategy already, right? So localization, so has some business model with advertisement. So that means it might be a small part of their past service in US too. US markets very advanced. I mean, so the very variety of the ethnic, so it brings some so less failure possibility. Also, we collect a lot of the data more than other one language countries. So in Korea, we just collect Korean data. In US, I can collect English, Spanish, and Portuguese, Chinese, Vietnamese, etc., etc. So very nice, market to collect the user behavior by language set. So when I look at the some OTT market strategy for the K content, so I hope to say about only about the K content business strategy. So K drama show is just one of the international genres from the U.S. major operator. So even though K-pop, K-drama, K-variety shows are very popular in U.S., it's just one of the international channels. So if I'm a CEO of the Netflix, or not Netflix, how to say, Disney Plus, I can say, oh, Korean title is more expensive than now, than before. Yeah, let's ban in the Turkish program more. Otherwise, it's better. So because of the U.S., there are various ethnic programs. So there are so many replacements. So usually the K content can be replaced by other cultural program. That's my perspective. So that means if we focus on the production and studio business, I mean Korean people. So it might be some OEM, some business, just to supply the content to the some platform or distributor in US. So don't have strong control in the market. So it means we need to have backup plan. So who is the backup? Who supports some value of the Korean content in case? Have to think about. So also I don't believe that all the Korean title is sold in US. So very few titles are selected by major player. Maybe over 80% titles were not selected by major player. There is no way to distribute such titles in the market. Have to think about. So also we have to have some consistent brand for the Korean content experience. So whenever I meet people, do you recall any brand for the Korean video streaming service? They say, nobody answer properly. Oh, I saw the title in the Netflix partially sometimes. That's all. So Netflix is not a representative brand of the Korean streaming. So I think we should have any consolidated brand name for the Korean entertainment experience too. So all the experiences through the platform must be translated into the data. So once we then collect such data, we have to analyze data, and then we have to apply such analyzed data to create the better content. Have to share such information and data with some production ecosystem together, and then we'll have more competitive content in the end. Okay, here's a couple what we did in the market last 6 years. So currently we convey over 30 Korean content providers and studio programs. We are only one way to distribute some bunch of the Korean title into the US market. So under the Cocoa brand name, we have B2C direct consumer service, we have B2B, and we have B2B2C service too. So to maximize the user experience, we delivered our service package to various US major operators as well. We have successfully partnership with Google TV, Amazon Prime Video, Roku, Comcast, On Demand Korea, Juma, Rakuten Viki, Cross Communication, and Smart TV platforms as well. So if I focus on the direct consumer service marketing only, it needs a huge amount of the marketing budget. So it is impossible in short time. So I try to maximize the user experience with our partner distribution network. Okay, what's the next? Recently, we launched AI creating service. Also, AI made some advantage in the search option too. So AI suggests keyword, keto keyword to the audience subscriber. Here, keto keyword from the AI machine. But we didn't teach them. It's automatically generated. So once we ingest our content into service repertoire, AI engine attach, generate, and attach keyword automatically. So it doesn't need any manual operation. I don't need to hire more some content creator and writer to tag keyword when I ingest my content to the service repertoire. So what's the benefit? Yeah, so from the service side, subscriber is very tired to seek proper title they want to watch. So they spend a lot of time to seek a proper title in the platform. But when I turn on the TV, turn on the Netflix, I search something in the Netflix, typically average time to search proper title is around 50 minutes. I saw there's some statistics through the conference before. 15 minutes is not short, it's long time. But we don't know whether they any subscriber finally find what they want. We don't know. They spend 15 minutes for searching. But we already be good at the machine recommendation. So all the platform recommend something automatically. So it's a one-way direction for the recommendation. But once I deploy the keto feature, all the keto keyword is not typical traditional keyword. It's not related to the traditional category. It's a very natural keyword. Something like, I want to see some sports game similar to SF and gloomy and handsome actor should be there, something like that. So such natural keyword is recommended by AI machine. So we can make some combination to search proper title. Also, it has a benefit to create content. So this way for content is made by AI machine. So typically we spend a lot of time to list up the content in the platform. It has a long meaning, so there are some arguments, so there must be some sequence. So content providers are very sensitive to how to expose data title in specific platform at all. But AI solved the issue. Okay, I just list up the content by your population in the Google search, something like that. Once I set the rule, so AI machine just list up the proper title. They recommend some very popular keyword, keto keyword in the rail. So we don't need to take care of the curation of the content on the platform. It's dramatic. So I reduce a lot of cost here too. So here's our backend system for the keto operation. If you look at the some menu, there are popular keyword. I see that how many keywords was queried by, clicked by subscriber. I keep watching what keyword is popular. So this is maybe next step for the platform technology. So we should AI recommendation as well. But our service is launched 1 week earlier than 2 weeks. I believe we are first one to deploy this feature in the market. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for presenting. Can you talk? Next next presenter is another Korean. Actually, they came to the Asian streaming platform. It's the ODK. Yeah, it's the I prepared for the present. Please come up with Junseok Lee. Can you take some room to prepare for the present? Sorry about that.
So I should say something, but I don't know what to say right now. So I can start before we have the presentation. So I'm Jun from ODK Media. So I'm one of the co-founders. And I need to go over the importance of the Asian community, but it's gonna be more like storytelling of our company, and then it will explain why we think the Asian American is important for the Korean. This for K-pop or globalization. So we were incorporated and have started our service in 2011. So it has been more than a decade right now. And when we started, we had a lot of questions, right? So Korean's contents were not that popular as now. It was still good, but it was not that popular. So then we thought about it and we searched for it. Me being as Korean American, I searched for it. I always watch the contents. I don't know where I stopped, but let me start. So when we searched for Korean contents that we would love to watch, we were able to find hundreds of private services. So there were lots of private services before Cocoa and before us. But there was no legit way to watch Korean contents at the moment. So we were curious if it's the same for other nations too, other countries' contents. And it was exactly the same. That's why we started our service on in Korea first, and then expanded to on in China and on in Korea. Unlike Cocoa or other platforms who do the general market, we actually focus on the ethnic market. On-demand Korea is for Korean American with the Korean contents. On-demand China is for Chinese American with the Chinese content. And on-demand Vid is definitely for Vietnamese American but with the Vietnamese content. As me being as a Korean American, we have to believe that Korean, Chinese, or any ethnic will consume their country's content more than anything else. Because, I'm Korean. Do I only watch Korean drama? Do I watch Korean movie? No, I'm watching everything. I'm watching documentary. I'm watching fishing, or I'm watching sports too, right? So I'm not limited myself, or Koreans are not limited by themselves just for dramas and movies, but they watch everything. So with this background and with the support and partnership with great partners, definitely including Cocoa, Wave America, we need this right now, we were able to do our business and grow until now. So for now, for Koreans who live in North America, most of them know of us, and then they use our service. And unlike prior services, we are the legit one. So we try to differentiate by providing all different types of contents. Just like I mentioned, not only dramas, but movies, but including gold, lifestyle, golf, or even documentaries talking about my mom, your mom, or our family, right? So we actually try to provide everything. So even there are a small number of people who are interested, we try to provide for them all. So even though we get like 1,000 views or 10,000 views only, we try to provide those types of contents to them because that's what we thought about personalization. We don't know, we didn't have that much technology at the moment, so we didn't know how to personalize. So what we decided to do was, rather than becoming, Chanel or Louis Vuitton, we decided to become Target or Walmart. I will provide everything, just come and search for whatever you want to like, whatever you want to watch, just come to us. So the reason that we did this way was because we wanted to be recognized and used as essential for the user's life, rather than just being just OTT. And we thought that that's how we can survive in this market. So with this experience on in Korea, just like mentioned, we expanded our service to Asian American by launching Chinese American service on in China, Vietnamese service on in Korea. And now we have vision to become #1 Asian media hub in North America. So our strategy for those two services are actually the same as on in Korea, and they're growing really fast. And among the legion one, we are leading in the market. The only difference, from on-demand Korea to on-demand China, on-demand Viet, is the reason that we're having the meeting today or conference today is Korean content. So we definitely provide the majority of Chinese content for on-demand China, Vietnamese content for on-demand Viet, just like our initial strategy. But we also provide Korean content too. Since K-content is one of the key factors for us to be differentiated from the markets and have uniqueness in the market. So as we all know, Korean content is getting watched and recognized from the entire world these days. And it's actually working for Chinese American and Vietnamese American. And for Vietnamese, frankly, they watch more Korean content than their country's contents because Vietnamese contents are, I don't know if you guys watched it, please take a look, please search for it. It's like 1990s or 1980s Korean contents. So it's really out there. But the only reason that they watch it is because they miss their countries. So we touch that point, we touch that emotion, and we provide Korean content. So we believe that, new Korean content, and now this Korean content is representing not only Korea, but now entire Asia. My friends, if I ask, have you guys watched Asian content, they will say, oh, I watched this Squid Game, those kind of stuff. So we are now representing entire Asia. And it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's getting more and more widespread. So for this globalization, we see Asian America as a key factor. So even me, before I joined this company more, many people think that globalization of K-content, entertainment started from the Western countries. But however, I think and we think it actually started from Asia. Before K-pop and K-media are popular in recent years in North America, you guys all know, we all know BTS, we all know Blackpink. But even before that, Asians knew about these guys. Asians always eager to find the new pop stars and new content and those kind of stuff because they love Korea and they already knew about Korea and they have the geographical advantage with this. So they get to know about Korean content much easier or faster. So even in 10 years ago when we started, Korean contents were popular in Asia. So we think Asians understand and like Korean content more because they were easily able to know and easily able to get to know all those kind of stuff. So because of Asians' history of being part of globalization of K-pop and K-content, we focus on Asian American because they have the experience of globalizing K-content. So that's why we are making on-demand Korea, on-demand China, and on-demand Viet separately, rather than going into one platform to globalize. So we are at the market platform, and we are leading it, and we hope to change the world with Coca-Cola and other platforms, other partners. So mine is really simple. This is all I prepared, and thank you for listening to me. Thanks.
Thank you for presenting for Junso Lee. We have another virtual session. It's from Bisang Education. It's from South Korea. Actually, it's the Bisang Education. Bisang 교육 is the very famous for in South Korea for is the prep school. So these days they are trying to platform the Korean education platform for overseas. So and with Korean content. So maybe they are still in Jungmu.
Hello, nice to meet you. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. So I'm going to start my presentation. So good morning from South Korea. My name is Kenny Kim, and I'm in charge of the global business of the Korean language education in Visang Education, South Korea. Today, we want to share with you what Visang as a global edtech corporation does, and we're focused on our Korean language education business that we do globally for global learners. So without further ado, let's directly move on to my presentation. So if you can see on the left, we are the #1 company when it comes to textbook brands in South Korea. We are the #1 company that provides textbooks to schools and academies in Korea. So if you look on the left, you can see the numbers of schools using our textbooks or the textbooks sold until last year. However, we want to focus on the number that you can see on the bottom right, where we have over 1,000 staff members, but over 400 of them are dedicated to making our own contents and technology. So we have over 400 R&D staff. It shows how much we value on developing our own high quality education contents and technology for our learners. This is just a bit more detailed milestone of our company history. We are a company that has over 25 years of history in the field of education. And with a lot of research and development among 20 years, we recently successfully launched our global edtech products on English, math, and Korean language products. And today, as I said, we want to focus on our Korean language products. Today, a lot of speakers told about the success factors of the Korean contents. As an education group and as a division that focuses on Korean language education, we believe accessibility to Korean language and providing high quality Korean language education to global learners can also be another factor that can contribute to increasing the future potential K-content customers. So to provide you a more detailed insight of how we started building this business is we started off from the COVID-19. So just like any other fields in the education, Korean language education also faced a lot of change due to COVID-19. We analyzed all the responses of successful cases of how education field responded to COVID-19, and we found common 5 factors in those responses. First of all, was providing an online real-time classroom, providing digital content for teachers and students, such as e-learning and AI. And essentially, there needed to be a learning management system that can combine all those functions and contents into one. That's why we started thinking of building an online platform for the Korean language education that can overcome time and space, but at the same time include a lot of digital multimedia such as AI or e-learning inside the platform. So on the characteristic side of the Korean language education market, due to the success of the Korean content, the demand for the education, learning for Korean language has also increased drastically. However, in most of the cases in foreign nations, the only accessible method to learn Korean language at the time was to come to Korean university as an exchange student or visit major cities' academies to learn Korean. However, due to COVID-19, those kind of options were all blocked. And our plan to build a new business model for the online platform for Korean language education was on the spot. So by building an online platform, we intended to solve major 4 problems that the original traditional Korean language education had. First of all, we wanted to solve the accessibility gap of learning Korean between major cities and rural areas. We wanted to provide high-quality Korean education provided by native Korean teachers to students all living in rural areas where the internet connection was very weak. The second thing we wanted to solve was the issue of lack of global tutors for the Korean language. The number of Korean native tutors that the Korean government employs to the global market is very limited and cannot match the increasing demand for the Korean language education. Another issue that we wanted to solve was a low pay of the traditional domestic Korean language tutors staying in Korea. Normally, those teachers taught at Korean universities or Korean language academies to foreign students, but they could not do that because of the COVID-19, so they had to change their job or stop teaching Korean. Therefore, we wanted to provide an online method where they can keep on teaching Korean language to foreign students, even in the situation like the pandemic. Last but not least, we wanted to increase the quality of foreign Korean language tutors too. In most of the cases, foreign Korean language tutors lack the skill set compared to native Korean tutors or do not even have a government license to teach Korean language. So to solve these issues, with over 2 years of research and development, we have created an online platform for the Korean education, which we call Master K. So in the Master K, we include a lot of functions, including real-time class, digital content for teacher, what we call class, recording function for teachers, e-learning AI, which is a digital content for students, and of course, customized website and learning management system customized for individual institutions. All our contents and functions are based on our own Bisan Korean content textbooks. So when learned with our textbook along with the platform, it can maximize the learning effect of the Korean language education. To give you a bit more detailed insight, what we do is when a partner first implements our platform, we build them a customized website to operate their own Korean language academies. This is an example of our partner in Japan. So students can log in to learn Korean or use diverse contents to learn Korean real time. This is a real-time function that we have. It's made by Amazon's AWS. The biggest function is that we allow the function where institutions or teachers can make quizzes, exams, or mock tests inside the platform. And students can take those quizzes or exams in real time inside the real-time video solution. Another important factor is the attendance data or these results of those scores are automatically saved to our LMS system, ultimately allowing our students to automatically issue certificates when the course ends. So everything starting from registration, class to evaluation to certificate can be done in a single platform. Now, we also view this recording function very important because teachers can now freely create e-learning videos what they want along with the share screen without having to worry about the portrait issue of students. Our recording function does not record students' face, but only teachers' faces and the share screen of those teachers. So teachers can make new videos as much as they want to share it with their students during class time. If we talk about the contents, this is a class, an acronym for Korean Language Smart Solution, which is a digital content based on our Bisan Korean textbook. So in the program, there are MP3 files, video clips, drama-type video clips, and interactive activities between students and teachers. So this will allow teachers to provide high-quality Korean lectures without having to prepare their own class materials. When it comes to e-learning, we provide our e-learning contents in diverse languages because we are providing this to our global customers. We provide them in Korean language, English language, Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Indonesian, and so on. So native teachers who have government license to teach Korean language are filming this e-learning lecture so students can choose their nationality or their language to learn Korean language. Last but not least, we provide AI contents in our program. So students can practice pronunciation on how similar their voices compare to native Korean speaker. Currently, we provide practices on Set AI. However, as you can see on the right, we are currently developing a generative AI where students can freely practice conversation and writing on the Korean language. And we are planning to implement this sometime next June in our Master K platform. So I've just given you some of the main functions that we have included in our platform. And with the success of the platform, we are now providing this platform to global customers to go beyond the limit of time and space and to provide education that can be done in any circumstances nonstop. So if you see on the below, we are currently providing them to countries such as Vietnam, India, Indonesia, Philippines, US, Germany, Oman, and so on. But as times go on, because we are now living in the stage of the endemic, some countries or some regions have no choice but to keep on with the offline model, traditional offline model of education. So we have also thought of a way of how students and learners or institutions can maximize the usage of our platform. And that's why we have created a model that we call hybrid class model. In rural areas such as in Vietnam or Philippines, where the internet connection is very weak in individual households, those students have no choice but to go to universities or academies in an offline classroom to learn Korean language. In this case, we can operate a hybrid class model where teachers are accessing online and students are gathering in one classroom. The benefit of this model is that the price will be much cheaper for the institution because there will be less server maintenance fee, and students can access real-time classroom with high-quality Korean classroom with high-quality Korean native teachers. So a lot of models can be operated through our Master K platform. Another important aspect that we have considered when making the platform was pedagogy. We have implemented the high-touch, high-tech pedagogy in our Master K platform. To explain this concept, so high-tech, meaning higher technology, high-end technologies, will allow students to self-study on repetitive activities such as pronunciation or writing practice. And at the same time, during the limited real-time classroom, teachers can provide high-quality customized lectures to individual students, which will ultimately lead to high touch. So all the contents and functions in our platform allow a smooth linkage between pre-class, in-class, and after-class, ultimately fulfilling flipped learning inside our single platform. So to give you some of the references that what we've been doing as a global business of Korean language education, these are just some of the partners that we have globally. So as you can see, we have in Asia, we have in Europe, we have in US, and we have in Middle East, and so on. And we are just keep making new partners as time goes on. But not only in private sectors, our Master K platform is gaining popularity also in the public sector. In 2021, we have cooperated with the Ministry of Education to train over 100 Korean language tutors in the southern region. Normally, these teachers had to come to Korea to receive these training. However, as you know, due to COVID-19, they could not come. Therefore, we provided training based on our Master K platform successfully. Another example is the Koika business that we are doing in Vietnam. Starting from 2019, we are cooperating with Korea International Cooperation Agency to improve the quality lives of the vulnerable in Vietnam by empowering employment based on the Korean language education that we provide. So we are currently providing to 18 universities in Vietnam of our Korean language products. This year, we are also conducting 2 important government projects using our Master K platform. So the first one is the King Sejong Institute Korean Tutor Training. If you're familiar with Korean language education, you might have heard about King Sejong Institute, a government organization that provides Korean language education all over the world. Through our Master K platform, we are training prospective tutors that will become a Korean tutor in the future that will be acting in 20 local King Sejong Institute all over the world. Another thing is what I mentioned before, is using government budget. We are currently creating a generative AI to freely conversate and write Korean practices, which will be implemented sometime next year in our platform. With our effort to provide the best quality of Korean language education globally, we have received some of the prizes that can be very important in the field of education. And we are being acknowledged by domestic market and global market all over the world. So as we believe that the success of Korean content also goes along with the increasing boom of the Korean language education, we believe there can be a lot of scope of cooperation that can be made with the content companies that are speaking today. So if you believe there are any scope of cooperation that can be made between our Korean language department, feel free to contact us because we will be visiting LA this November. So we hope we can meet you sometime there. We hope you enjoyed my presentation and thank you very much.
AI music company. Yeah. Yes, these days, as you know, the AI technology is on the rise. Some AI, this company might be very interesting. 제1회는 invest that startup. 제1회는 now is the second. They're still in South Korea. They try to set up LA branch next year.
Can you hear me clearly now? I'm sorry. All right, I'll start the presentation. I'm sorry. Good evening to you all. This is Taeyong Kim from PoseLabs, an AI music startup company. Today I'm thrilled to present to you a strategic approach to generate copyright-free music with AI amidst competitive global AI landscape. I will share with you how rapidly the world is evolving with the assist of AI in music generation and the strategies we are embedding to stay ahead in the competition. First, let me share with you this beautiful piece of jazz completely created by PoseLabs AI. Before we move on to talking about how this music was generated, let me walk you through the overview of PoseLabs. About the AI, we utilize our own proprietary music data to train the AI model. For the past 6 years, we have accumulated 1 million music samples. With this large amount of finely refined data, our system can generate high-quality music of diverse genres. Since we do not use any external data, we are free from copyright infringement concerns. Most of other AI music generation companies don't take an approach as ours, as we construct our own music data for training. And that's the part of reason we are receiving so much acclaim and attention in the global market. As you've just heard, our technology generates music with quality resembling that made by human composers in only 5 minutes. To create music of such high quality, we found human input, specifically composers' contributions, to be necessary. From pressing musical notes, converting the notes into the sounds of musical instruments, to mixing and mastering, we constructed individual models applicable to each step of music composition, and then combined them into one seamless process. Minimizing the generation time throughout all these different steps was another significant milestone for us. With this dataset construction and technological strategy mentioned, we were able to establish a solid foundation in the market, which has resulted in providing 5,500 soundtracks to our B2B clients to date. Of the 5,500 soundtracks, some were used in film, TV dramas, and entertainment shows, while others served as theme songs for conferences like the World Knowledge Forum in 2022. We also collaborate with artists and producers. One good example is the Slate music album, Dreamscape, which we co-released with pianist Yoon Han. Our goal is not to replace artists and composers, but instead to continually work toward creating an environment where artists, producers, and even the general public can leverage and harness this technology. Now, I will walk you through how Pose Labs pursues visions with AI music generation technology. As you may already know, the amount of video content uploaded online is constantly increasing. When we examine the statistics, 330,000 hours of video are uploaded every minute on YouTube alone, and more than 3.7 million videos are uploaded online daily. In contrast, the availability of copyright-cleared music for use in all this video content is highly limited. If they choose to use licensed music, which pretty much applies to every song released through record labels, music publishers and distributors, they need to go through a very complicated licensing clearance process. It is very rare that music composed by humans is freshly served on the table right away, and the ownership share of licensed music is distributed among different stakeholders involved in this process, such as music distributors and digital services providers. Furthermore, it simply costs too much to commission music from human composers, and generally, it takes a long time. We recognize the status quo of the music supply chain as a business opportunity and choose to employ artificial intelligence in the music generation process to solve the problem. Over the past few years of working with diverse clients, we have received a considerable amount of positive feedback and have observed a very high retention rate. We have become confident that with the assist of AI music generation technology, we can not only solve ongoing problems in the music market, but also make high quality music accessible to everyone at a very, very, very low cost. These are some of our clients, which include prominent companies in the South Korea entertainment and IT industries. Since we provide background music and music has no borders, we believe our achievements in the domestic market will be applicable in the global market as well. Now, I'd like to discuss potential strategies for competing with the global AI music companies and how to produce controlled high-quality music based on the commute paper that was published at NeurIPS. As I briefly mentioned before, we adopted a music generation process that resembles the process done by human composers. Of many different AI models we utilize, one technology that we are most proud of is the note generation technology. You can think of writing note stems into a music manuscript, but to be more clear, it is a MIDI file generation technology. The paper elaborating on this technology was published at one of the world's most prestigious AI conferences called NeurIPS last December, proving Pose Labs AI technology to be highly competitive. The core concept of this technology is to generate music not note by note, but rather in the unit of samples. These samples embed different metadata such as BPM, genre, key, and instrument, which are then combined to create a complete piece of soundtrack. In the case of AI image and text generation, a vast amount of data is available on the internet. However, that is not the case in the music domain. Simply put, the scarcity of data makes it difficult to build a self-supervised foundation model for music composition. To overcome this obstacle, we employ two strategies: divide and conquer and successful objective breakdown of music. The divide and conquer strategy enabled us to construct a pipeline for music generation using multiple models that are assigned specific tasks, and rather than relying on a single model to perform all the work. Moreover, the key to achieving a successful objective breakdown of music lies in creating a high-quality data set that is well-tagged, easy to understand for a computer, and is objective. Our research and development in AI music generation is based on these two strategies. which have enabled us to build the most high-performing AI model currently available. Here is a point I want to make to everyone. The widely accepted large-scale model is not the exclusive solution for making industrial applications of AI. Instead, we must leverage our expertise and experience from our respective fields, make our best attempt to dissolve that wisdom into data, understand the capabilities and limitations of artificial intelligence, break down complex problems into components that can be effectively processed by AI models, then tackle the problem. By following this approach, we may be able to uncover valuable insights to previously unanswered questions. Based on the MIDI file generation technology mentioned earlier, let me walk you through what combinatorial music generation looks like. Since we understand the limitations of artificial intelligence, we tasked our AI with only what it is capable of. As you will soon hear, the samples produced in stage 1 are somewhat basic. However, when combined during stage 2, it suddenly turns into a beautiful piece of music. The piece you are about to hear in stage 2 was created by merging only 5 samples that were generated from stage 1. This is the first sample. The second. Third. Fourth. Last but not least, the fifth sample. Based on the designated combination method, each of the 5 samples created in stage 1 is positioned as it is shown here. Now, let's listen to the piece that results from the merging of these 5 samples. How did that make you feel? When I heard it for the first time, to me, it was mind-blowing. Thanks to AI and our strategies, we can produce an infinite number of unique samples by utilizing various combinations of metadata. Now, imagine a world where everyone, even you and I, can create our own music. What would it be like? Many of us here may wish to create our own music, but feel that we lack the necessary skills or knowledge to make one. With AI technology, even those without a musical gift will be able to effortlessly create music. Professional composers can also benefit from AI technology, reducing repetitive tasks and gaining new inspirations. At PoseLabs, we are dedicated to igniting creativity, and we will continue to press on. Thank you for listening. This was Taeyong Kim from PoseLabs. From PoseLabs.
Thank you for presenting. Actually, they initially set up in every branch, so this visa process is a little bit slow, so yeah, they cannot join right now. It's another, sorry for wrong rate. Yeah, it's the Swim is the digital human influencer company. This is the last presenting, but it's the most cool project. Please come up.
Hi everyone, can you hear me clear? My name is Edo. I'm the Chief Creative Officer at Swim. And first of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present here. I've been a big fan of Korean entertainment for quite a long time. Since I'm a kid, I've watched all of the Kim Ki-duk movies, Park Chan-wook, Old Boys, Lady Vengeance. So, 감사합니다. So today I'm here to talk to you about virtual influencers. As you probably know, in Korea it's been quite a decade now. That it's been quite a big cultural phenomenon, and it's finally coming to the US this year. So a little bit about a company. We're a tech company based here in LA, and we create virtual influencers, digital doubles, and digital ambassadors. We started in 2021, creating My Pet Hooligans, which was the second biggest NFT project after Bored Ape Yacht Club, and we think it was this successful because of the personality and storytelling behind this character. So naturally, we decided to pivot into the virtual influencer world. So today, brands are signing up with one expectation and is experiencing a very different reality with the legacy influencers. So there's two risk factors with traditional influencers. The first one is financial. There's big cost management, and the second one is engagement fraud. A lot of these big influencers, you don't know if they have a real following or if some of them are bots or not. So you can lower your return on investment and even have a loss. The second one is branding. There is some very strong inconsistent messaging because you can't control those influencers. So sometimes the message might not align. And of course, the second one is external reputation issues, and all of that can damage the reputation of your brand. So essentially, legacy influencers are very costly, they're unreliable, and they lack customization. A lot of companies often misspend in traditional influencer marketing, and so to optimize your return on investment, we think that companies have to adopt a more sophisticated approach and adapt to evolving digital landscape. So one of the first risks is, of course, reputation. The second one is like financial missteps, brand consistency, outdated engagement, return on investment decline, and cost and management. You know, a lot of these influencers can be very hard to manage. They can be really expensive. You don't know, what the reputation they have outside of their business. So Swim has leveraged a 3 C's framework, we like to call it. The first one is cost reduction. There's been a lot of innovations in the technologies lately, which allows us to reduce the overheads of such projects. Just a few years ago, it would cost tons of money. You would have to have tons of animators, riggers, and 3D artists to create this type of project, and today you can do it with way less. Second C is control. With AI automation and motion and facial captures, you can really have unparalleled control over the influencer narrative. And the last one is connection, which is our solution to create profound connections through rich content, storytelling, and high engagement levels. So a solution, we believe, is the digital influencer, which is the future of brand engagement. So we leverage AI, AR, 3D, and Web3 technology to help brands create their own influencer and control it, which helps you reduce the cost, control your return on investment, change the way you connect with your fan base, because now your influencer doesn't exist only in the real world, it exists as well in virtual and physical. And you can also now collect tons of data and insights on your influencer, and then you can mitigate risk this way and maximize your profitability. So who is Aya? Aya is our proof of concept influencer. We like to call him a terrestrial culture addict. He comes from a different planet, and he's obsessed with human culture. He loves human art, human music, and human designs. And he's kind of here to remind us, in a world of doom and gloom, that there's still things to look forward to. So essentially, we created him to prove all the verticals that a virtual influencer can hit. So he's a model, a sneakerhead, a streetwear addict, and avant-garde fashionista. So he's also a DJ, so he can create music, he can be at live concerts, he can produce also a lot of music, and he's also a designer, so he can create 3D art, release NFTs, and set digital trends. So our business model is pretty straightforward. The first one is social media. Of course, we generate money from ad revenues, from the clicks and views we generate from our content. Second one is brand partnerships, working with other brands to, for example, wear their brand, their clothing, or do promotional posts. And the third one is subscriptions, things like Twitch tips, or Patreon, or even Instagram subscriptions. The second business model is development, so we can create your own avatar however you want it, and then we can help you manage it. So either you can manage it yourself, or we can do this ourselves. And the third one is data, so we're going to collect tons of data that we can then give to you. And the last one, of course, is merchandising licensing, and because these characters exist both in the physical and the digital worlds, we're able to sell digital goods and physical goods at the same time. So for example, this t-shirt here can exist in the digital world. Let's say a gamer wants to buy it and wear it in Fortnite or Roblox, he can, but he can also buy the real version and wear it in real life. And of course, licensing, we can license the image rights. He can appear on a billboard, on an ad, or IP monetization. We're going to release music that can be played in a movie or a video game. So we think there's a big market opportunity right now in the US specifically. We're seeing quite a few trends, and I think it kind of started during COVID when Travis Scott did a concert within Fortnite, which reached over 200 million people. And I think this is when a lot of brands realized that there was a huge untapped demographic there. And since then, we've been seeing big brands like Louis Vuitton and Balmain doing their own virtual models, and like Lil Nikila, for example. And the second trend in tandem with this, which is post-COVID, where it's like a big out-of-home entertainment crave, where a lot of people are looking for immersive experiences in real life. Things like the Holo show from Eric Pritz, or the Tale of Us show, or even some of the big shows at Coachella, where they have these huge LED screens with big 3D characters on them. So what we're trying to bank on is kind of like have our influencer exist within those two trends. One is like online, digital, and also immersive in person.
So a go-to marketing strategy is pretty straightforward as well. First of all, it's going to be short-term content, which is going to be like real stories on Instagram, TikTok. We're creating dance challenges and things like that. Second one is long format content, which is pretty trendy right now in the US, like long format podcast, mixtape, DJ sets. Then we can also release music. We're working with some of the biggest ghost producers in America. One of the ghost producers of Diplo and Nina Kravitz. So we're going to release a single really soon. We're going to do a press release here. We're working with Official, with a very famous artist that's going to be wearing his clothes. And then of course, traditional social media advertising. We're going to do lots of live events. Actually, tomorrow he's playing at the Investment Week for 1 hour set. If you guys are still interested, I think we're still selling tickets. And of course, the last one's going to be guerrilla marketing, putting posters everywhere in the street, some people are really aware of. And it's kind of fun because you can bridge the physical and real world at the same time. It's very exciting. And our distribution channels are pretty straightforward as well. TikTok and Instagram for everything that's short-term content. Long-term content is going to be on YouTube, and everything live is going to be on Twitch. All our music is going to be released on Spotify and on labels like Mixmag and Monstercat. And we're really lucky to work with amazing partners. Our technology partners is Liminal Space for everything that's LED screens. Some of you were there yesterday. We also work with Phantom Labs for everything that's hologram, because the idea is also to make him appear as a hologram in real life. We work with Red House, which is the biggest West Coast production partner. And then for closing, we work with ABP Closing, which does all the big hip-hop artist drops. And Fred Siegel is where we release some of our closing brands. So on that note, thank you.
We finished the session, and we're gonna rearrange it a little bit. Chairs. We have last one is maybe 10 or 15 minutes in the discussion session. Sorry for a little bit late. And all presenters, please come up. So we first we are planning for person summit now there for virtual presentation for join. Please come out over here, the work presenter. Yeah. For discuss session. Yes. Sure.
we have only about 18 minutes, okay? So during that 18 minutes, anybody who would like to make any comments about the presentation that the scholars made and other company representatives made. And I see Professor Sezi raising her hand, so we'll go with her first then.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead. Well, we are talking about technology, right? But we also see how technology can fail us completely today, too. So.
She's in mute.
Siraba, you're muted. Or are you making one?
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Of course, I couldn't.
Talking about technology, right? How technology can fail us today. So.
I actually wasn't raising my hand to talk, but rather to see how many minutes there were. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Of course, I couldn't. I actually wasn't raising my hand to talk, but rather to see how many minutes there were. So we have a substantial lag between what's happening on Zoom and what's happening on YouTube. Between what's happening on Zoom and what's happening on YouTube.
So what can we do?
Actually, we have another guest for this session. It's from Korean TV station. Yes, introduce yourself. Yeah.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Seok Kwon, and I'm a CEO of NBC America. NBC is one of the major terrestrial broadcast station in Korea. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenny Kim. I represent another TV station network called SBS, and yeah, so we oversees channel distribution, content licensing, and production here in the U.S. Thank you.
Okay, so it seems like you two are the ones that were supposed to do some kind of discussing. So we'll return to you and maybe very short kind of comments about the session today.
Okay. So every presenter talked about where Korean content and wave is right now and where it's headed. I just want to briefly give you an insight of how we got here. So actually 2023 marks the 40th year of official Korean television launched here in Los Angeles. So it was 1983. There's a KBS CEO, sitting way back there, but KBS, which is a national broadcaster of Korea. So, you know, give them a quick hands. And SBS is another network, and you know, we oversees SBS content distribution here in the U.S. and Latin America. So you know, we are responsible for the legacy media and the audience, and we're switching our business model to content production right now. So we're the suites of content development, as known as remake, format, licensing, and production, with U.S. partners like Amazon. We mentioned that, and we're working with NBC Universal and all the major U.S. studios based off our IPs. And they're on various stages of production right now. Usually tell them that we have one project. It's going into production in December, and so that's basically what we're doing right now. And thank you for inviting us all and for the great presentation today. Thank you.
Yes, nice to meet you. And every presentation was very impressive and very inspiring. And AI do everything, so it's a crisis for legacy media like NBC America. These days, NBC America and other legacy companies are focusing on the stage of the content, especially the format or drama remake. Yes, so as you know, the revenue of the advertisement and the subscription income is decreasing rapidly these days. So we are focusing on the stage of formats such as The Masked Singer in Fox television. And there is a rising market in the South America for Korean content. So we are trying to introduce Korean dramas and Korean entertainment format to Latin America, Mexico, and Brazil. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to our scholars in the back over here, because they heard the companies, what you are all doing. And the way you see it from scholars' perspective, how do you see whether the kind of efforts that the companies are putting in, do they look like a possible success, or are we? What I was asking was that if you can just quickly go around and to give your assessment of people's presentation today, and to give us some understanding of whether these efforts are feasible going forward. Okay?
Is the echoing? So, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
And why don't we go start with Dr. Seiji again, and then go around. Or, each person can just speak for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure that I heard the entire question, but if the question is if the efforts of the people in the room with their various technological platforms are visible, and I think it depends on the perspective from which you're watching. Like, I'm not currently trying to learn Korean language, so this is something that I wouldn't know if Bisang Education, if their efforts are very visible to other people, for example, nor am I in the market for AI music. However, particularly Cocoa is very visible to me as a consumer of streamed Korean content. And you know, I do think that it is possible for Korean companies to compete successfully with these global platforms like Netflix and Hulu. I think that when we look at the examples of ventures like Bilibili and Viki, then we really can see that like Bilibili is doing, then it would be possible for them to make a real impact on the global streaming market. I think the problem right now is that too many of the Korean content producers are signing up with different international platforms, and that actually makes it so that if you haven't signed up with Disney Plus yourself, you're not going to see Moving, which is, you know, unfortunate for those of us who want to see the hit show of the season. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. And Darcy?
Maybe I'll go next. And I can discuss something that was not directly discussed at length, but as a translator, I mean, the issue of AI translation is something that is obviously very much in the air. It's developing quite quickly. I must admit, for me personally, as a working translator, it's kind of an emotional issue. And you know, I've come across articles that have quoted my work. Of course, with the success of AI translation, it will effectively eliminate or greatly reduce the human element in translation. And as a teacher of translators, it's something that I kind of struggle with. I mean, film subtitle translation is something that will require a quite, you know, sophisticated approach, because it's not simply about translating text. You know, if you translate text without looking at the screen, then you end up with unusable subtitles. And so you have to be very aware of what is going on visually, what is the context of what's happening, you know, particularly in a language like Korean that is so context specific. You have to be aware of how the shots are edited together in order to time the subtitles properly. You know, spotting in itself, dividing up the lines into proper bits, right? Can be processed by the viewer in a comfortable way. I mean, that's an art in itself, separate from translation. You know, of course, AI is very powerful, and the question is how good will it get? And I can certainly envision a future when AI has achieved a level whereas human intervention may not be possible. But between now and then, I'm quite worried about the implications of this for translators. I think that it would be very likely in the near future that translators will be given an initial AI-run translation and asked to touch it up or to fix it. They will likely not be paid the full amount for this. And just from my point of view, for me, it actually takes more time to fix a bad translation than simply to write a new one. If I see a line of dialogue, I know how I want to translate it. But if I'm given another line of dialogue that's a bit flat, that isn't working dramatically, to twist it and to change different words and to move it around is actually more difficult than simply to write it out anew. So I have a lot of concerns and questions about the future of AI translation. I'm kind of older generation in this sense. So, I guess emotionally I'm not prepared for what the future may bring, but until then I'll continue to do the best that I can and to teach translators to the extent that I can.
Okay, thanks, Darcy. Dr. Kim?
Well, so AI technology is, I think, currently a very hot button issue when it comes to, possibility, and I think it's a reality that it can and does replace, human labor. So what jumped out to me among many presentations, again, it's based on my, personal interest, of course, and research interest, that is the Puzzle-Ups, I think they unfortunately left the Zoom session, but AI generated music, which can I think replace, and probably does replace now the actual composers, and we are not talking about big name composers. I know a few people who are making this kind of small pieces of music for all kinds of soundtracks, and I can see that their sort of sources of income being endangered by this kind of the new technology, and that is quite astonishing, and something that I guess as a society as a whole, and economy as a whole to have to tackle with. Having said that, again, I was pointing to the fact that this new technology, whether it's AI or VR or AR, seem to be the wave of the future when it comes to K-pop industry, and that's probably going to continue. And in terms of visibility, really, I think the big change was made when these big companies like gaming industry companies and big portals like Kakao started investing in this kind of technology and work with K-pop entertainment companies, and that's when the from the consumer side actually you see a huge difference and public recognition. And I think this kind of emerging technology, of course, in many cases are led by these smaller companies, and it seems that on the business to business side there seems to be quite a bit of a activity there, but from as a consumer, it's still, I think, hard to see what's going on sort of under the hood. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Park?
As about the feasibility of platforms, I agree with most of you just mentioned that as a maybe consumer side, and also maybe particularly focusing on webtoons. Probably I can say that some platforms are really powerfully influencing the consumers' patterns of for example watching or reading webtoons. However, there are several platforms, but they cannot enter and they cannot make themselves really visible because maybe we are so familiar with, for example, the neighbor webtoon already established in the platform and also the website. And then when I just took a look at the market, the ratio, for example, neighbor webtoon dominated even in the US, more than 80%. Then what about other platforms? for example, the AI generated music is really, I mean, wonderful, but I don't think it's really hard to make itself really visible, I mean, to the consumers or to users. And going back to just webtoons, well, I mean, there was a Pocket Comics or maybe Tapitoon and other webtoon platforms, but you may not hear about other really webtoons. Because, for example, really the big budget or a really big company, they already occupy the name webtoon itself as the brand name of the company. And also maybe the AI generated, for example, the AI, what is it, the writing, the system, they usually just use the name as their brand name and also the powerful influencing name. So in that sense, I think make it visible is really very, I mean, difficult. So maybe from the consumer side, we don't have really many choices in that sense. And maybe from maybe producer side, and also yes, in equality in terms of a budget or maybe yes, the size of capital. Because of that, it's also yes, I mean, inequality exists and probably it may be really worsened. Then maybe we have to think about the structure of the platforms and also maybe capitalizing platforms. All right, so yeah, thank you.
So with this, I would like to conclude today's session. And as you witnessed, this is the first time we're doing it. And as it is the first time, again, there's a lot of, up and down, meaning technology related mostly. However, I have to say all the presenters really brought out the aspects of technology that we have not really been familiar with, and the aspect of the numbers that many of you also presented, something we have not been aware of. And so for that, I think everyone who have been watching learned a lot. And I myself certainly learned quite a bit today, not only from the scholars' work I know, so I know about them. However, all the presenters, I really would like to say sincere thank you for your preparation and the presentation. And thank you to Jung-Eun Han at DirectMediaLab who came up with this idea, came to me, persuaded me to work with him. And I said, let's try and see how the Academy can work with the company and see how we can help our students and other community members who do not know much about this area. Thank you again and have a good evening. Thank you, Sirabao. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, Kiro, and thank you, Jayan. I don't know whether you can. 이렇게 하면 저를